Hi, and welcome to Morsels of Excellence. Tonight's topic is social media and the church. I used to work in college athletics, and our athletics director would always tell coaches and athletes that we were the front porch of our institution, that we were oftentimes the very first and sometimes the only part of our school that people would see. It was important for us when we went out for away games or when we were in our home venues to represent our school well. I like to think about social media and the church in this same way. While there are other parts of our public witness as individuals and as a community of believers, the social media witness of the church is very important. It's the front porch of our church in this time. And people can either be welcomed by the hospitality that they find there, or they can be turned off by things that they see there as well. Think about it like this from Eugene Peterson's The Message, found in Matthew chapter 5. Here's another way to put it. He writes, "You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill." Your social media is the light. It brings the God colors to this city on a hill, the internet. Your message has to stay on point, though, in order to truly be witnessing the extravagant love of Jesus Christ. You will need in your church to make sure that you have 2 administrators for these accounts, people that are passionate about it, people that have time to devote to it, as well as understand the technology that different social medias engage. Posts will need to be approved by these folks so that everything is coming through one channel and it stays on message for the mission and vision of your church. Less static sites like Facebook or Twitter can and should address current events, pop culture, tragedies in the world. It should tell about what the sermon topic is this coming Sunday, whereas your website can be more static and show longer term events around the life of the church. You don't want Christmas to be listed as the feature event when Easter is around the corner, but your website can stay more static longer. It's also really important that your social media presence be authentic to the personality of your church and the witness that you want to bring. Be sure that you have release forms from everyone involved in the life of your church on file, especially minors. You need to have policies around adult-minor contact on social media as well, but you can find lots of those samples through our office or online. But it's important for adults too, because people come to church for sanctuary. And then in many cases, we are live streaming their stories, their testimony, their prayer request, their image onto the internet. We want to make sure that we have these release forms on file and that we note in the bulletin that we are using these things for either live streaming or for still photos online. And speaking of streaming, you need to be especially careful that you have all of the copyright licenses in place for this type of activity. Just because somebody has a great phone doesn't mean you need to be live streaming your services. Check into CCLI licensing and One License to make sure that the music especially is covered through these policies. Pastors will also want to be careful that their sermons are annotated and footnoted correctly for intellectual property reasons. These conversations cannot be spur of the moment and end with the brief conversation that you may have after this video. You will want to reach out, contact Stephanie Rader-Titzel, our Communications and Generosity Director here at the office, to get lots of resources to engage this conversation. You want to make sure that you are keeping everyone safe and protecting their personal privacy, as well as attributing sources where necessary. Social media is important in the life of the church. It is part of your public witness, your sharing of God colors with the world. We must pay careful attention to the ways that we go about this particular light bearing and sharing of God's love. I know that social media can feel overwhelming and seem like a never-ending conversation, but getting covenants and policies in place will best serve you and God in the world. We look forward to hearing from you. See you next month when we talk about behavioral covenants.